Tell me if this sounds familiar. You know what you do not want. You have a long list of what did not work and who was wrong for you and what you are never doing again. But when someone asks you what you actually want, what you are actually looking for, you hesitate. Because the honest answer is, I am not totally sure. Today we are going to fix that. Welcome to Doing Life. Welcome back. Ben Robinson here. Kofi is with me, and today we are building something practical. Not a checklist of traits you want in a partner, not a vision board, the actual blueprint of who you are and what you need. Because those two things have to be clear before any relationship has a real foundation. Kofi, why do people find it easier to name what they do not want than what they do?
Because what you do not want is built from experience. It is reactive. Something happened, it hurt, and you learned from it. What you actually want requires something more proactive, a clear enough sense of who you are and what you are for that you can articulate it forward rather than just away from the last thing. Most people have done more experiencing than they have done honest reflection on what the experience was teaching them.
That is exactly it. Let's build the blueprint.
Before the relationship blueprint, there has to be a self-blueprint. What does that look like?
It starts with 3 honest questions. What are you non-negotiable about? Not preferences, the things that, if absent from a relationship, make the whole thing unsustainable for you. What produces the best version of you? What environments, what kinds of people, what conditions bring out who you actually are rather than who you manage yourself to be? And third, what are your patterns? Not just in relationships, in how you handle conflict, how you respond to stress, how you behave when you feel unseen or unvalued, because those patterns will show up in any relationship you enter. Knowing them is not optional.
The patterns question is the one most people skip.
Because it requires the most honesty. It means looking at the places where you were part of the problem, and most people would rather build a list of what they need from someone else than sit with what they need to work on in themselves. But the blueprint is incomplete without both.
So once someone has that honest self-knowledge, what does the relational blueprint actually contain?
3 layers. The foundation layer, the things that have to be present for the relationship to be built on anything solid. Shared faith or values, framework, compatible direction, fundamental honesty. These are not negotiable. If they are absent, you are building on sand regardless of how good everything else feels. The growth layer, what the relationship needs to produce in both people. A relationship that is not making you more of who you actually are is maintaining you at best and shrinking you at worst. And the third layer, the specific things that are true about how you give and receive. Your love language matters, but it is more specific than that. How do you actually experience care? What makes you feel known versus just liked? What shuts you down in conflict? These specifics are the material of a real blueprint.
Most people never get that specific.
Because specificity requires vulnerability. It means saying, here is exactly what I need, which means here is exactly where I can be let down. And for people who have been let down before, that level of specificity feels dangerous. But a relationship built on vague compatibility is a relationship that will eventually expose the gaps.
What do you do with the blueprint once you have built it? Because I think people can build clarity in isolation and then abandon it the moment they are actually in front of someone they are attracted to.
That is the most common failure mode. The blueprint gets overridden by the feeling, and the feeling is real. I am not dismissing it. But the blueprint is what you return to when the feeling is doing all the talking. It is the anchor. The question you come back to after the good date is this person aligned with what I know I actually need? Not, is this person wonderful? They might be wonderful and still not be the right fit. The blueprint is the honest filter, and using it honestly sometimes means walking away from something that feels good because it does not fit what you know you need. That is not cynicism. That is the disciple season actually working. The blueprint is not a fantasy list. It is not about finding the perfect person. It is about knowing yourself clearly enough that when the right person is in front of you, you can recognize them. And when the wrong person is in front of you, even if they feel right, you have something solid enough to tell the difference. Build the blueprint before the next relationship starts, not during it. You already know more about what you need than you have been honest about. The blueprint is not new information. It is the honest organization of what you already know. Get it out of your head and onto paper, and then use it. I'm Ben Robinson. Don't stress life, live it, fall down, get back up.
When I look at my life.
My final thought: the blueprint is not a contract you bring to a relationship. It is a compass you bring to yourself. It does not tell the other person who to be. It tells you what to look for, what to require, and what to walk away from. Keep it honest, and keep it current, because who you are changes, and the blueprint should reflect that.
My final thought: the most important part of my own blueprint was the part I was most resistant to writing. The pattern section. The honest accounting of what I bring to relationships that has not always served me or the other person well. That section was uncomfortable. It was also the most useful thing I have ever written about myself, because you cannot change what you have not named. Next episode, we are going into walls versus boundaries, because there is a difference between a person who has healthy limits and a person who has built walls so high nobody can get in. And a lot of people are confusing one for the other. We want to hear from you. Have you ever confused a wall for a boundary or a boundary for a wall? Email doinglifewithben@gmail.com. I'm Ben Robinson. Don't stress life, live it, fall down, get back up.
This week, do these things. 1. Write down your 3 non-negotiables, not preferences, the things that have to be present for a relationship to be sustainable for you. 2. Answer the pattern's question honestly. What do you do in relationships when you feel unseen, stressed, or in conflict? Write it down without softening it. 3. Identify what produces the best version of you, the environments, conditions, and kinds of people that bring out who you actually are. 4. Define your 3 blueprint layers. Foundation, what must be present. Growth, what the relationship must produce. And specifics, how you give and receive. 5. If you are currently dating, take the blueprint you just built and honestly assess whether the person you are seeing fits it, not as a verdict, as honest information.
When I look at my life, you see where I stand. Yeah, I made it through more than they know.